Hello, everybody. My name's Brett Stalcup. Welcome to the Choices Podcast at choicesofficialpodcast.com. We're all about making better choices in all parts of your life, personal, business, relationship, spiritual, all of it. We're going to start learning tonight about how to make better choices in a world gone crazy. Last week, World Gone Crazy, we talked about how it was power and money was the root of all evil. I want you to meet my co-host, Carcass John. Give him a big hand.
Hey, thanks, Brett. The world has gone crazy, hasn't
Hey,
it?
dude, I'll give you a big hand, dude. I love you, man. You're awesome.
Man, I love you too.
Hey, if it's only two people giving you a hand, so what? It's worth it.
So what? We're the only two in the room, so guess what? We're supporting each other no matter what.
Yeah, that's right.
So lots going on in the world, and I think, aren't we going to continue this as a theme moving forward?
As a series. So next week we have Denny Brewer coming to talk to us. He's of counsel with my firm, and he is an upper high-level executive with the Fellowship Church. And he's going to talk about how the church world's gone crazy too. And he's been a friend of mine since 1972. You're going to love him, Carcass John.
I don't think anything's immune. Yeah, nothing's immune from just the weirdness that's going on everywhere.
Yeah, everywhere.
Not even the church can escape the wrath of the world.
Well, cool, dude. You got some lyrics for us this week?
Man, I do. And something, I was talking to a coworker this morning, and he's into the same kind of music we are, 60s, 70s, rock and roll. And he said, you know what? Something hit me, because he was thinking, as I was talking to him about the Choices podcast, and he says, oh, thanks for the reminder. I'll be chiming in, and because he's driving to West Texas tonight to do some work out there. And so obviously when you're driving around, you needed something to do, so he'll refer back to this. And but anyway, he said, man, I was thinking about your little thing with the little song lyric, and he said, I got a suggestion for you. So this goes out to Pete DeWall from the company I work for. He's a dear friend, and this is a song by Bruce Springsteen, and I know that's right in your wheelhouse. It's not in mine, but it is. I do respect him.
It hits me right in the heart, dude.
Yep. Well, This one's going to hit you even harder. This is called Brilliant Disguise, and I won't read normally I would read the whole song, but this is pretty lengthy. But the last two lines are what I want you to focus on anyway. So he says, tonight our bed is cold. I'm lost in the darkness of our love. God have mercy on the man who doubts what he's sure of.
Ooh.
Let me read that again. God have mercy on the man who doubts what he's sure of.
What's that mean, Carcass John? That's over my head, dude.
No, it shouldn't be over your head. How many times have we're so convinced we've made the right decision, and we probably have, but it sometimes takes it what is it if you make a noise in the wood, does someone really hear you? Is it really a sound, or is it a sound until somebody's heard? So when we have when we're sure of ourselves but nobody else is sure of us, how does that make us feel? I mean, I've had that hollow feeling before, where I absolutely know that I've made the right choice, but yet it takes two people to tango, or more sometimes.
Carcass, I always like to say, you've got to be the eye in the calm of the storm.
There you go. There you go. And once again, I've been thinking about that statement all day long, and knowing, like, even when we all have adversity in life, I think that, as my daughter has mentioned many times, and she would be careful to pump us up by saying, without resistance, we don't gain strength. And I think that this goes with part of that. We have to have confidence in ourselves. And even if, everyone else has doubts, but we don't, that's okay.
You know what that's called? Wisdom.
There you go.
You got a lot of wisdom. Carcass John, you don't give yourself enough credit. You got a lot of wisdom, dude. Underneath all them tats and underneath that 6-inch beard. Dude, you got a lot of wisdom.
we need to talk about that at some point, about looking at certain people and situations and just automatically going to a judgment, because you wouldn't do that, because you're gonna I think you would find, if you didn't know me from the man in the moon, I think that you would approach me anyway, especially if I came into your office, and you would, in a kind way, you would query me and say, "I want to know a little more about John Fossum."
Dude, I would. I'd say, you know what I'd say? Hey, man, I like your beard.
Right, and then I would
I
tell you,
would.
and the reason I have it is because of somebody else, and you know what? I've grown to like it. I'm confident now in the beard department.
Oh, dude, that's awesome. And I like your tats. Yeah, I like your tats because your tats tell a story. I
They
always ask these kids, dude, tell me about your tats because I really don't like tats, dude. I got to be honest with you, you know. But I like it if that tells a story, you know. If it tells a story, I get it.
Well, I think I've reflected on that before,
Yeah,
and in fact, when I had that discussion with my father, who did this, okay, talk to me about this, meaning, everything that's, and basically, I was coping. Some people turn to alcohol, some people turn to drugs, some people turn to spending money frivolously on things that don't matter when they're grieving or in the process of being distraught. And fortunately, I call it fortunately, I have something to show for my suffering and my pain, and I utilized that physical pain to kind of dampen the emotional pain, and it has mostly to do with my son's passing,
yeah,
and it was completely out of left field when no one saw it coming. It just happened, and
right.
it was hard to cope with. And so, um, fortunately, I had friends that were at least cognizant of my circumstances, and they would call me out of the clear blue. And I had a dear friend that worked at Bob Shaw, a longtime friend. He would call me up and he'd say, "Come on down to the shop, Carcass." And I'd say, "I don't need a tattoo. I don't want a tattoo." He said, I didn't ask you if you wanted a tattoo. I just told you come on down and hang out with us."
Yeah, that's good. You
So
got to
they
have
were
friends.
surrounding me with benevolence and with kindness, just trying to
Yeah,
keep me from losing myself into myself.
that's
So,
awesome. Dude, you know what? It's like the craziness in the world right now. You gotta be still, you know? I've been meditating lately, Carcass. I've been out on the, outside every morning meditating to a Calm app. Have you ever seen that Calm app?
yeah.
And I listen to them. I try to do what they tell me, but I do redneck meditation. It's
Uh-oh.
like
You
yeah,
gotta explain that to me.
but redneck meditation is where you're sorta half in and you half out because my mind goes too fast to come back and look and don't do anything for 5 minutes, but I'm learning how to do it, and it's very calming, and for all the craziness going on, even people driving like crazy, man, and all the craziness going on out there, it's good to stop and be still, and like I always say, the 24-hour rule works for me in Sanka. It's, where we don't do anything for 24 hours. Anybody can invoke it, like, "Hey, you wanna buy that chair?" I said, "You know what? I'm gonna invoke the 24-hour rule." So you wait, you know, and I do that a lot of times before I make a decision because God has a tendency to wake me up in the middle of the night to give me, uh, clarity.
Yeah. Well,
You
I
know
was
what I
gonna
mean?
say, you and I both love music. That's no big secret. And usually when I'm in the car, I'm jamming out, I'm listening to something new and whatever. And there are mornings where I just leave the radio off. No talk
Mm.
radio, no sports talk, no about the big Mavs win or loss or whatever. Nothing, just silence. And it becomes very cathartic to the sound of silence. And it, to your point, it does give me clarity.
Carcass. These phones are like amazing tools, right?
Sure.
I mean, it take a picture like you can't imagine, it takes a video like you can't imagine. But it's created so much technology for us, like it's an instantaneous answer on anything that you want. That's good and that's bad. These things are gonna be the death of us if we let them.
Yeah.
People don't, you know, dinner time's supposed to be where you put the phones down and you see, hey, what's going on, right? It's not a my dad used to use it as a time to tell me what I was doing wrong. I'm like,
Mhm.
you know, I don't do that to my kids. I listen to them, and I like to listen to it during dinner. What's going on? It's about them, asking questions. And I think the crazy world can be managed if we stop using these things, like leave the phone in the car, dude.
Yeah.
Go to the movie, leave the phone in the car, and hang out. Uh, it's
Well,
just
when I go to the Queen's house, the phone stays in the car. There's no reason for me to. I mean, I'm gonna be there for a few hours, and then I'm gonna get in, and I'm gonna drive, and if somebody really needs to talk to me, then they'll leave a message. That's the one thing that two of my pet peeves with the phone.
what?
When I text you and you ignore me, and I'm not saying you, I'm saying when the general public, when someone texts me or I text them and they just ignore me and don't respond, or or
Or what?
they call and they don't leave a message.
On the voicemail?
Yeah, they don't leave a message. They
Dude,
call.
I don't do that.
No, I'm not saying you do. I'm just
I
saying.
know, but I don't leave a voicemail to anybody.
Oh, you don't?
No, it's such
Well,
they know that you called, just call me back.
well, what if you want to just say, "Hey, I found that Bruce Springsteen record you were looking for. You don't no need to call me back. I'll get it to you this week."
Well,
But you can call me back anytime, Brett. I
yeah,
mean,
but if it's about records, dude, I wanna talk to you, you know?
of course you do.
So speaking of records, this world gone crazy, I'm trying to go down the river of life and keep moving forward. So, I got this crazy thought, and you gotta hear this, Carcass, because I was calling you. That's why I was calling you the other day. So, I got this Paul McCartney album, right?
Mhm.
And it's the one that I think you got it for me. We paid some pretty good money for it. It's that Hot Hits and Cold Cuts.
Okay. Yeah.
Henry had it.
Yep. I directed you to that to
Yeah,
Horn Lake Records.
and I
So what
drove
did you
all the way over there and paid big money. And Henry told me, he goes, "This record was never published. It was taken in Japan or somewhere," was
right.
the story. Well, Henry sells a pretty good line every now and then.
Every now and then.
So I woke up. I woke up and I said, "Oh, look, my daughter's got this whole Beatles collection, right? That's just like outstanding." I said, "But if the man got his record stolen, I don't want it because it's his."
Mhm.
So I was gonna call you and tell you I wanna send this record back to Paul McCartney because I don't wanna own something if it was stolen.
That he
Uh,
didn't get credit for.
yeah,
Yeah, that's called a bootleg, and some people call them special pressings or limited edition. But to your point, that's part of the reason that the music business is in such disarray is that bands do this great music and sometimes they don't get paid.
and people steal their music. I'm gonna
Yeah.
send it back to him, dude. I know when Paul McCartney dies, about the same time me, whatever, my daughter's gonna be sitting there counting her money. It's not good to count stolen money.
No, no.
You know what I mean? I gotta set an example for her.
Right.
Even with this craziness going on around us. Anyways, that's why I was calling, dude. It's you got to do the right thing.
Sure. So what do you do? What do you do with a situation like that? Because I've had a similar situation where something is um, maybe gotten in an ill-gotten fashion, and so what do you do with it? I mean, I bought some. I remember when I was in business for myself down in Houston, and Yardworks bought a bunch of used equipment from a guy, and I thought, well, this is all quality stuff, and I could use it for backup and whatever. It was used. It wasn't brand new, and then come to find out that it was all It had all been ripped off. And there was no police record, no police report, but I found out through the grapevine that it was stolen. So
Here's the way I feel about it.
okay.
It's like old Fred Lauder used to tell me, my old partner. What goes around comes around. And it does most of the time it does a full circle and you get to see it. You know? I don't want to be part of taking opportunity on something that's not ours. I mean, so I'm gonna send this record back to Paul McCartney with a note that I bought this record for my daughter's collection, but then I found out that it's stolen.
That it's a bootleg.
It's a bootleg, so it needs to be returned to you. Thank you very much. We love your music. Have a good day. Adios.
Well, if you got an address for him, that's what I would do.
That's easy to do.
I donated that stuff because I didn't want it in the arsenal.
Yeah.
I donated all that
Dude.
equipment. I couldn't sell it. I couldn't sell stolen goods. No,
it's bad. It's bad juju.
It is bad juju. So I ended up donating it to a worthy cause.
That's a good bumper sticker. Bad juju. Yeah. Yeah.
We need
Speaking of bad juju, world gone crazy. Hunter Biden got his today. Dude, we now have a former president that's been found guilty, and now we have a former president or a current president's son that's been found guilty. I don't want to get too political on the show, but I will say that someone should have helped him through thinking through this because he lost 3 acceptance responsibility points. You're going to be hearing that. That's big in the guidelines.
Mm-hmm.
That could be the difference between going to prison and probation. But anyways, he's going to get pardoned. But our world is crazy. Our politicians are crazy. Power's crazy. Money's crazy. Interest rates are crazy. Being able to feed your families is crazy. So we have to simplify our life.
I agree. Well, and I'm in the process of making room for a few new people at Casa de Carcass, and as I go through things, including piles and piles of records, and as I was telling Rob Colwell, our friend and my cohort on another podcast, I had all this stuff, and it's nice to be able to put your hands on it and have a physical copy of certain music releases or what have you. But it's more of a status thing. Like, wow, look at behind me. I have all this music, and quite honestly, I couldn't listen to it all if I started today and went to the end of my life. But it's nice to be able to just reach over, grab what you want, and listen to it when the time comes. But you can do that online with Pandora and Spotify and YouTube.
But it's not the same experience.
It's not the same experience. And I believe in buying physical copies from people. But do I need 10 copies of Fleetwood Mac Rumors? No, I don't know.
That's a tough question.
Well, it's a tough question because, like, if you start talking Grand Funk, Deep Purple, Aerosmith, I got multiple copies because it's kind of interesting. But could I do with 1 or 2 copies instead of 10? You bet. So I'm simplifying, to your point, I'm simplifying my life. And the Queen has a huge Star Wars collection, and she hasn't quite learned how to refine that, but maybe she doesn't have to. Maybe I make enough space where she can now have the freedom to put that stuff out. I don't know. It's yin and yang. It's give and take, and we're making choices.
Yeah. It is making choices. You got to make choices together too, dude.
Right. And that's
you just can't come up and say, "Hey, Queen, get your Star Wars stuff out of here."
Yeah. No, I wouldn't say that because
do you know how many guys would? What is this?
But you know
what are you doing bringing that in here?
I'm more intrigued with the happiness of others around me, because if they're happy, I'm happy. And I truly mean that. And I've learned a hard lesson, and I don't know that I've ever been in a meaningful relationship where there is no anxiety about it. we're open, we're honest, and if something needs to be discussed, it gets discussed. And there's no fault, no judgment, no whatever. It's uncanny because I've never had that experience before.
I've been married to Sanka for 25 years, and when I was raised, I don't like to talk about this much, but somebody in my house used to yell, and Sanka's dad might have raised his voice too much. 25 years, neither one of us have raised our voice to each other, so it can be done. You know what I mean? It's
Mhm.
respect, and sometimes, I'm sure Sanka has to take a walk every now and then because I'm such an idiot, but it works. It really does. And uh, my daughter and my baby daughter and her boyfriend of 2 years just broke up, and because they were arguing, and my daughter is not used to seeing any of that,
Hmm.
and so I wanna lay that predicate for my family and stop the cycle of what was going on, Does that make sense?
Yeah, well, if there's that kind of friction in your relationship, I think that that's a bad sign. And either you work together to fix it or you just cut ties and move on. Because I won't have those types of episodes in my house. I just
Yeah,
won't. I
yeah,
mean,
and I
it
and how this crazy world we got right now, how men can be violent with women, dude. What? Are you insane? You know? I mean, they
you're talking to a man with 4 younger sisters and no brothers, and you
yeah.
can better believe that I have every modicum of protection
I'm just
for all
saying
of them.
it's the world right now. The
It is the
people
world.
it's becoming a norm, and it's not okay. It's
No,
not.
it
So
is
here
completely not okay.
it's not okay, dude. It's not okay. Uh, it's not okay. It's not okay to yell. It's not okay to hit. It's not okay to do drugs. It's not okay. It's not. And you young ones out there, I'm gonna bring my daughter in. My oldest daughter is a Spider. She can be a guest of ours later on and talk about choices in college. And I'm sure she's gonna bring up the fact that when they turned 18, I took them to lunch and said, "I'm done." They said, "What are you talking about?" I said, "Well, I'm done. I mean, y'all are 18. You got I was on my own a lot earlier. So you're on your own. I know I got to take care of you financially, but your decisions, your choices are yours. You're an adult. If you fall flat on your face, I'm there to pick you up. If you go to jail for drugs, you're there to stay. I can help you when you're flat on your back. But as far as being 18, the choices that you make are yours from here on out."
Boy, and I'll tell you right now, I'm seeing that transition from 17 to 18 in real time, and it's remarkable that some kids breeze into adulthood without too many hiccups, but there are always hiccups because and especially for a parent, especially if you're an actually concerned parent. I've known parents in the past, some of my friends, they're like, "Well, you're 18, so you're out of here. You're on your own." And they basically kick them out. And then there's also parents that they just keep hanging on and hanging on and hanging on, and all of a sudden the kid's 28 instead of 18, and he's still living in the basement. And I guess that's okay if that's your arrangement, but
Listen, carcass. In this day and time, it's okay. It's their choice. It's okay. It doesn't affect you.
no, it doesn't affect me.
It doesn't affect me. And it's like, dude, I get it. Your son's living there taking care of mama, taking care of daddy. I mean, I get it. Uh, but going back to 17, I'm gonna bring his phone back. These kids are nuts with these phones.
Yeah.
They're sexting. They take pictures of them having sex on that phone, and then they often delete it after they recorded it on their phone and send it out to their friends. Dude, that's possession of pornography. I mean, it's a felony. They don't know that what they're doing to themselves. The courthouse and the district attorney's office is having fun indicting people for that right now.
Well, and that stuff never goes away. You might
Never
delete
goes
it
away.
off your phone, or off your computer, but it stays there. And I have plenty of friends who are in the cybersecurity business, and they're just like shaking their head, thinking, "Yeah, you may have hit delete, you may have hit reset, but it's there. It's
Yeah.
still there."
Yeah, it is.
So if
Dude,
unless you
I've
want,
got so many telephone cases with juveniles. Dude, they're mean. But they do it. They trade the videos, and it's possession pornography. And yeah, you can get it sealed when you turn 18. But until then, you're going to go to alternative school. You're going to hang out with other people, and you're going to be looked at as the dude that got caught. That's crazy. It's a bad choice. Bad choice.
yeah, I never even really thought of it being that serious, but I guess to your point, it is. I never. That stuff was all around me. It's all around us. It's everywhere. It's in the advertising. It's on TV. It's in magazines. It's whatever. But I just tried to stay away from it the best I could. I had enough distractions. I didn't need that. Of course, I didn't have a cell phone till I was.
Carcass, these kids at the schools right now are mean, dude. Have you seen videos of these kids fighting in the cafeteria?
Yeah.
And a parent tried to break it up, and then the teachers try to break it up, and then they hit the teachers, and nobody does anything about it. Are you kidding me?
But they're all standing around with their phones, aren't they?
Oh yeah. Hey, back up a little bit, teacher. Let me get a picture of that. And they're bullies. Bullying is bad in school, dude. It's bad. It is bad.
Well, I just watched an interview with Nick Saban, the very successful college football coach.
Yeah.
And he said straight up, he said, I just couldn't, we just didn't have an impact on these kids anymore. Well, he spoke with his wife. They made a decision for him to just hang it up. But he said after this last year, they used to have all the incoming freshmen, all the incoming players that had over for breakfast on a Sunday morning. And his wife said, why are we doing this? They don't care. They're over there on their phones scrolling, and they're wondering when their check's coming in. So the integrity of the game had left, and he felt like he wasn't shaping these young men's lives anymore.
That's, I represent a bunch of guys, NFL guys, and what has happened is they've converted the league from a team sport to an individual sport.
Yeah.
And the individual has his own marketing team. He's got his own website. He's got all his stats up. He's looking for that second contract, right? And so his choice is to take care of himself and not the team.
Right.
I've seen it. Look, if you notice, if there's a team that's not going to playoffs in the last 2 games, they just got to play because they got to play. The all-pro guys are going to pull themselves because they're not going to get hurt because it costs them money.
Because they're about ready to jump to another team.
Yeah, that's the way it works.
I mean,
it's the same thing they're doing in colleges.
I've followed I've followed where I went to college since I was a little kid, since I was old enough to understand what football and basketball and all that was, and to see it now, I mean, there are guys that'll start this year that have been on 4 other college teams, and they still have eligibility.
The portal.
Yeah,
all I knew was good about a portal was to get to heaven. That's all I knew was good about a portal.
Or get out of your stateroom at the ship,
Yeah.
But it's like people don't really have to make serious choices; they just make the easy choice.
Mm-hmm.
Because some college, some other college will say, "Hey, well, we'll pay you more money, so why don't you come play for us?" And they'll say, "Okay, see ya," because there's no loyalty in their choice.
That's right.
Gone are the days like I remember one of my favorite players growing up in baseball was George Brett. just a good old country boy, played with the Kansas City Royals, won a couple of championships, just a good dude. And he was great. He was a great player. And he had opportunities to leave the team. But you know what? He stayed with the Kansas City Royals his whole career. That was it. He wasn't
Yeah,
going anywhere because
that
he
didn't
felt
happen.
loyal to the fans and to himself and to the people that had put him on the map. But
Yeah.
you will never see that anymore.
No. Now George Brett have his own website, his own marketing team, his own videographer,
And he would have
his
played for 5
his
other
own
teams.
editor, his
He
own
would
T-shirt team,
yeah.
making all the T-shirts with his name on it.
He'd be
And
playing for the Yankees making $90,000,000 a year.
yeah, that's it, dude. It's gone crazy. It is.
It
It
has gone
is.
crazy.
It's taking the fun out of it, though. I
I think
don't
you're right
care.
because there's no integrity.
No, none. I'd rather watch a good Formula One race than watch a
Oh,
football
man.
game anymore, you know?
Yeah, I love Formula 1
Me
too.
too. That was a crazy race the other day. We could get into it.
Was that the Canadian Grand Prix?
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
great. It was in the rain. There was wrecks. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah, yeah.
dude, you know those cars cost $21 million?
Oh, I have no doubt. But you know what? They develop when Honda was winning big time, that same block, same engine block was in their Accords. They developed the specific engine block in Formula 1. They were getting almost 600 horsepower out of a four-cylinder, a 2.0-liter four-cylinder engine.
So all my friends run the McLaren team here, and their clients. I love these guys. So, and they're great. They know everything about racing. So on Sundays, dude, I'm in with them. You know what I mean? What's going on here? What's happening? And Lando ran a great race the other
Yeah.
day, man. He was good.
And no
Anyways,
offense to any of those guys, but I'm a Max Verstappen fan from the get-go
oh, dude,
also.
yes, because you like my little nephew. He picks the winners. You will stay with the winner. But what's amazing to me is those guys jump in a $21 million car and drive it like it was a Volkswagen.
Yeah.
You know? Oh,
You should investigate the physical force that's on on their bodies when they're in those vehicles and the G-force and all that stuff. They really, really have to be healthy and monitor their diet and so
oh
forth.
yeah, dude. It's all in their hands, though. Everything going on with the car is in their hands.
Right.
It's amazing to watch. I mean,
It
if you
is amazing.
Google Formula One steering wheel, it's got it all. So, Carcass, what's our takeaway? We're going to do a series. We're going to keep going on World Gone Crazy.
Well, I mean, I, since it's not going away, then we have something to draw on every week. But
Yeah,
and you had mentioned prior to us going on because we talk all the time anyway. But we had talked about people just don't have a sense of purpose anymore. People don't have a sense of self worth. Like the worth of souls is great. That's what I was told growing up.
yeah,
And so that's how I respected others is because I knew that we're all a valued person, a valued human being. But I think that's not taught anymore, and people have lost sight that they are important. There's a reason for them to be here.
I agree. And so, you know what else, Carcass? People need to make a plan. It starts at the top with the husband and the wife. They need to make a plan in their personal, business, spiritual, and relationship part of their life and fun. They need to write that down: personal, family, spiritual, business. And under each one of those, write the objective. What's your objective in each one of those parts of your life? What's your objective in your personal life? Mine's to get to 195. Keep my eye on 195. And what three things do I need to do? Drink water, eat healthy, and spend. Okay, go to the next one. And then share it relationship wise. What do you need to do? Business, what do you need to do? And share it with each other so you have a plan. A plan takes away fear. A plan takes away doubt. And once you start hitting some of those goals, you're going, hey, this is pretty cool, dude. You know? I think that helps to slow everything down. Um, it really does.
I'm taking notes
Are you?
because I'll tell you right now that I I'm actually living some of these recommendations, and I've never really done that before. I've just sort of been an exister. I to what we had. What did we? When did we talk about the behaviors that get us in trouble, like being the nice guy all the time?
No, no, dude. It's called self-defeating games.
Self-defeating games. There you go.
Dr. Phil's the dog at putting that together.
And let me tell you what, I was that guy. And I think that when you fall into those traps, that you're just existing, you're not living. And we have a goal that we're going to live. And I saw something the other day that said, when you get married to somebody and you commit to them, that's not the finish line. That's the starting line. That's a new race.
Oh yeah, it is.
And you've gotta keep each other's. I mean, I've never been with somebody that wants to just keep being social and keep growing.
That's called that's called friendship, dude.
Well,
If
there
you
you
don't
go.
have friendship in your marriage, you're in trouble. I mean, true friendship. It's like I always say this. There's like 4 parts of relationship, right? Number 1, you meet, all y'all happy and all fuzzy, right? Number 2 number 2
That's a nice
is
way of putting it, but yes, okay, I understand.
yeah, then number 2 is the lust stage where you're just lusty, 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 right? And
Right.
then there's number 3 phase. After all that's done, number 1 and 2, number 3, can you be friends?
Yeah.
That's when you see what you got. That's when you see what you got, dog. Anyways,
Well, I may have
I've
stumbled into something special because, man, we're having a good time, and
oh, me too, man. I think, look, we got to stay on World Gone Crazy because I think what we've learned also today is to slow it down, make a plan, and go forward down the river of life, and don't go backwards. Don't look over your shoulder. Keep going forward.
yep, I totally agree with you.
And
If
so,
you live in the past, if you dwell in the past, if you talk about the past, I think the past is important because you learn life lessons and you learn what not to do and what you can improve on. But if
right.
you dwell on it and hang around and, well, I feel like I need to confess all my sins to my friend, and man, you're gonna just get yourself into a big world of hurt.
Hey, I can't do that. I can't do that. I can't let this anger go. Well, you know what? Anger is the poison that kills you.
Yeah.
And I always like to say, look, you see this pencil? Take it. And then they take it. And I said, you made a choice to take it and you did it. It's easy. It's easy.
Well, Bruce Lee said anger is a wasted emotion.
Anger is a poison that kills yourself. Anyways, hey, so we're going to bring in Denny Brewer, dude. He's been a friend of mine since early 1970s. And he's got some stuff on me, and I got some stuff on him. But man, he's got a lot of wisdom. And he's his daddy was a heck of a trial lawyer, and they've just been friends of mine a long time. I think he's going to offer a lot about good, solid choices and in the spiritual part of your life, without washing with the blood of the lamb. He's going to come in and say, here's what's going on in the church world. Here's what we're seeing. And here's the difference you can make in your life. And I think that's going to be really cool.
Yeah. Well, it's another perspective because there's more perspective than just one, as we all know. We're individuals.
Absolutely. So we ask you to go on the choicespodcastofficial.com and subscribe with us. If you like and enjoy our show, please share it with your friends. We're at 7:00 every Tuesday live, but then the audio casting goes on tomorrow, Wednesdays, and we have the library. And so we're going to keep doing this series on world gone crazy until we feel that we have got solutions and tools to live this crazy life. But this, we always like to end our show with a saying, and today saying is, I'd rather take a slow dime than a fast nickel.
Whoa.
Just slow it down, dog. It's going to come. Got it?
Amen. You betcha.
All right, Carcass. We love our people. We love our viewers. Thank you guys very much. And we'll see you next Tuesday at 7 o'clock with Denny. All right.
See you then. Bye.
Bye-bye.